The declaration from humanity's supreme commander echoed across the intergalactic communication waves, stunning the entire galaxy. The Kadran, a conquering species with hundreds of planets under their rule, had always looked down on humanity. To them, Earth was merely a tiny, impoverished planet not worth their attention. But that challenge struck a blow to the Kadran's pride. They decided to respond with a full-scale assault to crush Earth, turning it into a lesson for all the other species in the galaxy. The Kadran fleet, comprising 3,000 enormous warships equipped with the most advanced destructive technology in the universe, departed from the heart of the galaxy. The Kadran High Command believed the war would be a quick and easy victory. Meanwhile, on Earth, the preparations for war were more intense than ever. At the helm of the Planetary Defense Force, PDF, was General Alex Tan, a seasoned strategist. He knew humanity's military could not face the Kadran's superior power head-on. But he also knew that in war, strength alone does not determine victory. For 2 decades, he and his team had quietly developed a top-secret plan known as Quantum Ghost. The plan was based on 3 crucial strategic principles: camouflage, dispersion, and surprise counterattack. As the Kadran fleet approached the solar system's borders, the front-line defense forces deliberately appeared weak. The space stations seemed to be guarded only by a few outdated warships. The Kadran easily destroyed these targets and pressed deeper into Earth's defense system. But they had no idea that every step they took was part of General Alex Tan's calculations. Meanwhile, the PDF's engineers and scientists were perfecting the quantum network, a defense and attack system designed to operate outside the enemy's perception. This system used satellites hidden in the asteroid belt and the dark side of the moon, linked through quantum technology, allowing for instantaneous data transmission that could not be intercepted. The first major attack by the Kadran targeted Mars, where a key human military base was located. The battle there was fierce, with thousands of warships and millions of soldiers engaged. But just when the Kadran thought they had gained the upper hand, the entire battlefield suddenly shifted. The defense stations, thought to be destroyed, revived, and launched a devastating counterattack. Each Kadran warship was precisely targeted and destroyed in the blink of an eye. General Alex Tan, from the command center on Earth, ordered the activation of Phase 2 of the plan. Human warships appeared from unexpected positions, surrounding the Kadran fleet. To further enhance the surprise, part of the quantum network was programmed to disrupt the entire Kadran control system, throwing them into chaos. The climax of the battle came when the Kadran sent an ultimatum demanding humanity's surrender. They could not imagine that, instead of capitulating, humanity would counterattack even harder. General Alex Tan sent a brief but defiant message. War is not a game for the strong, but an art for the thoughtful. And we are masters of this art. In less than 72 hours, the Kadran fleet of 3,000 warships was either completely destroyed or fled in a state of panic. Earth not only survived but also marked one of the greatest military victories in the history of the universe. But what made this victory truly special was not the destruction, it was the message humanity left behind. Instead of pursuing the Kadran to the end, General Alex Tan ordered a ceasefire and left a message on the Kadran's home planet. War only leads to annihilation. This time, we forgive, but next time there will be no second chance. The story ended with the image of the twinkling stars above Earth. Humanity continued to exist, not through brute force, but through intelligence, courage, and extraordinary adaptability. That final message was not just a lesson for the Kadran but a reminder to all of humanity of the value of peace and creativity in the face of adversity. The Kadran were a notorious conquering species in the galaxy, known as the darkness of the stars. They were not only powerful militarily but also possessed superior technology that allowed them to subdue even the most advanced civilizations. With a history spanning thousands of years of domination, the Kadran always saw themselves as the center of the universe, with no species capable of resisting their power. News of humanity's weakness reached the Kadran High Council like a gift from fate. A report from their spies revealed that Earth had just undergone a global energy crisis, with space defense systems lacking the resources to maintain them, and internal divisions weakening the will for unity. To the High Council, this was the perfect moment to eradicate the root of the problem. The Kadran fleet, consisting of 3,000 colossal warships, was deployed from the central planet of Valthera. Each warship was a mobile fortress, equipped with superweapons such as magnetic annihilation cannons, thermal photon missiles, and impenetrable plasma shields. This fleet was not merely a strike force but also carried teams of engineers, scientists, and resource recycling systems, ready to turn any conquered planet into a new base of operations. The fleet was led by General Vrak Thalin, a renowned strategist known for his ruthless style. Vrak believed that the attack on Earth would be more of a military exercise than a real battle. To demonstrate power, he decided to begin the campaign by destroying humanity's outposts on the edge of the solar system. The opening attack took place at Pluto, where a research and defense space station was located. Under the pressure of the Kadran fleet, the station was destroyed in less than an hour. The Kadran did not just destroy the facilities, they also carefully documented the entire scene to use as propaganda to instill fear. Next, they moved on to the asteroid belt, where Earth's resource extraction factories that supported its defense systems were located. The attack here was similar: quick, brutal, and unforgiving. Images of burning space stations and floating debris were transmitted directly back to Earth, as a message that no place was safe from the might of the Kadran. However, something strange began to occur. While the Kadran easily wiped out the outposts, they noticed that there was no significant resistance from Earth. The rare defensive warships they encountered seemed to be outdated models, quickly destroyed in an instant. Even the communication signals between the bases were fragmented and out of sync, as if the entire human defense system had completely collapsed. This puzzled General Vrak, but he quickly dismissed his concerns. To him, humanity was simply too weak to mount any meaningful resistance. "They're just delaying their end for a few more days," Vrak declared to his officers during a meeting. "Continue the advance. Earth will soon kneel before us." Meanwhile, within the Kadran High Council, members began congratulating one another. They believed victory was all but guaranteed, and the conquest of Earth was merely a matter of time. The leaders of the council had even started discussing how they would utilize Earth's resources once the war was over. But behind Earth's silence lay a secret. Beneath the deep oceans, at hidden underground bases far beyond the Kadran's reach, humanity was quietly preparing for an unprecedented counterattack. All the outposts destroyed, the warships annihilated, and the fragmented signals that the Kadran had received were all part of a larger plan, a perfect act designed to lure the enemy into a trap. General Alex Tan, head of the Planetary Defense Force, said little as he reviewed the reports of the destroyed outposts. He simply coldly issued an order: maintain position. Let them think we are dying. As the Kadran fleet advanced deeper into the solar system, the mysteries began to escalate. Bases near Earth suddenly became vacant, with no signs of activity. Their surveillance satellites were experiencing signal interference without clear reason. But none of this was enough to make the Kadran stop. They saw it all as a sign of a faltering, chaotic civilization. Vrak, confident in his fleet's strength, could not imagine that Earth's silence was not a sign of collapse, but the calm before a storm, one that would soon engulf his entire fleet. General Alex Tan, a strategist with a sharp mind and unbreakable resolve, had spent decades studying the wars between civilizations across the galaxy. He knew that humanity could not rely on sheer military power to confront the Kadran forces. The technological and scale differences were so vast that any direct confrontation would be suicidal. Therefore, he placed his faith in humanity's intellect and creativity, which led to the creation of the Plan Quantum Ghost. This plan was not simply a defensive strategy but a masterpiece of warfare designed to turn obvious weaknesses into unexpected advantages. General Tan worked with top scientists, brilliant engineers, and strategic experts to build a system of hidden traps, combining advanced stealth technologies and the sophistication of the quantum network. The goal of the plan was to deceive the Kadran, making them believe that humanity was so weakened that it was on the brink of collapse, thereby luring them into prearranged trap zones. General Tan's strategy relied on three main stages: camouflage, baiting, and surprise counterattack. In the camouflage stage, the outposts on the outer edges of the solar system were designed to look like outdated and weak military facilities. Some research and resource mining stations were intentionally abandoned, with minimal defense systems, creating the illusion that Earth no longer had the resources to protect these areas. Fake communication signals were broadcast from the bases, indicating panic and loss of control within the command ranks. However, behind this seemingly weak facade was a network of advanced stealth devices, including invisible surveillance stations and quantum energy cannons hidden away. These technologies not only allowed humanity to gather intelligence on the Kadran fleet but also enabled them to prepare for a counterattack with precision down to the finest detail. The baiting stage was the most crucial part of the plan. General Tan knew that the Kadran, with their arrogance, would not be able to resist the opportunity to crush a seemingly weak opponent. Human defense warships were cleverly positioned to engage in brief skirmishes, pretending to offer weak resistance before being destroyed. Each time, the Kadran advanced deeper into the solar system, completely unaware that they were being led into predetermined positions. Meanwhile, the scientists of the PDF worked tirelessly to perfect the quantum network, a system that connected bases and defense weapons across the entire solar system. This network not only allowed for instantaneous data transmission but also enabled synchronized attacks from multiple locations. Small satellites, coated with stealth materials, were launched and positioned in space regions the Kadran would never suspect. At the command center on Earth, General Tan and his team closely monitored every move of the Kadran. Each of their attacks, each victory, was recorded and analyzed, not to stop them, but to ensure they stayed on the exact path the plan had outlined. As the Kadran advanced closer to the inner planets, they began to encounter anomalies. Their warships frequently lost communication signals with command or experienced strange malfunctions with their navigation systems. Some warships were even destroyed by unexplained explosions, which they dismissed as accidents. However, all these issues were the result of meticulously laid traps. The climax of the baiting stage came in a region between Mars and the asteroid belt. This was where the Kadran had believed they would destroy most of humanity's defensive forces, paving the way for a direct attack on Earth. But they had no idea that this was the very spot where General Tan had placed his greatest trap of the entire plan. When the Kadran fleet entered this area, they were suddenly confronted with a series of attacks from multiple directions. Humanity's invisible warships emerged out of nowhere, launching energy blasts with pinpoint accuracy. Satellites hidden among the surrounding asteroids activated their laser cannon systems, inflicting serious damage on the enemy formation. The Kadran quickly realized they had walked into a trap, but by then, it was too late. the entire area had been sealed off by a quantum energy field, preventing them from retreating or receiving reinforcements. No matter how powerful their remaining warships were, they could not withstand the perfect coordination of humanity's defense forces. After the battle ended, more than half of the Kadran fleet had been destroyed or captured. For General Alex Tan, this was just the first step in a comprehensive counteroffensive. He didn't just want to defeat the Kadran, he wanted to send a clear message that humanity would not be easily subdued. When his officers asked what the next step would be, General Tan simply smiled and said, "They chose war. Now, we will teach them what real war is like." The darkness of war still loomed, but within it, the light of humanity's intellect and courage began to shine brighter than ever before. While the Kadrans reveled in their easy victories and continued advancing deeper into the solar system, they remained oblivious to the fact that, in the shadows of the inner planets, humanity was quietly weaving a web of destruction. This was not a collection of crude weapons or conventional defense systems. Instead, it was a masterpiece of quantum technology, an automated weapons network, not only tightly interconnected but also endowed with superior intelligence, capable of reshaping the entire battlefield. This network, known as Erebus, was the result of over 2 decades of research and development under the strict supervision of a leading team of scientists, spearheaded by Dr. Arya Voss, a genius in quantum physics. Unlike traditional weaponry, Erebus operated on the principle of quantum entanglement, enabling instantaneous communication between all devices in the network, unrestricted by physical distance. This provided an unparalleled advantage, flawless coordination on an unprecedented scale. Dr. Voss, with support from technology experts, designed Erebus as a self-learning system. It did not merely take commands from humans but also had the capability to analyze data independently, predict enemy movements, and adjust strategies in real time. Each unit in the network, from stealth satellites to quantum energy cannons buried beneath planetary surfaces, was part of a collective intelligence, capable of functioning autonomously or in unison to achieve maximum efficiency. At the heart of Erebus was a quantum supercomputer housed in an operational center deep beneath Earth's oceans. This device could process an immense volume of data in a short time, using algorithms based on game theory to anticipate Kadran actions. With its superior processing power, Erebus could analyze millions of variables simultaneously, from the trajectories of individual Kadran warships to the slightest changes in enemy tactics. To shield Erebus from detection, General Alex Tan and Dr. Voss implemented unprecedented camouflage measures. Stealth satellites were equipped with coatings that reflected light and radar waves, rendering them completely invisible to Kadran sensors. Defense stations hidden beneath planetary surfaces and natural satellites were built in caves or disguised as natural terrain. Even the energy shield protecting the quantum supercomputer was designed to absorb and disperse any signals that might reveal its location. The Kadrans, blinded by their arrogance, failed to realize that their easy victories were, in fact, part of a performance orchestrated by Erebus. Panic signals from destroyed defense bases and the futile engagements of outdated human warships were all coordinated by the system to lure the enemy deeper into the ambush network. Meanwhile, Erebus continued to expand and evolve. Dr. Voss and her team integrated cutting-edge technologies into the system, such as dual-helix energy cannons, molecular magnetic bombs, and quantum disruption devices capable of disabling the entire Kadran communication network. Moreover, Erebus excelled at asymmetric warfare, focusing firepower on the enemy's weakest points, inflicting devastating losses with minimal cost to humanity. One of Erebus's first field tests took place in the Ceres region, where the Kadrans had established an outpost in preparation for an assault on Earth. With the network's support, a small human fleet staged a mock frontal attack while hidden cannons and covert satellites launched a surprise assault from multiple directions. Within less than 10 minutes, the Kadran outpost was utterly destroyed, with no warning signals reaching their main fleet. This event caused Kadran Supreme Commander Vraktalan to halt the advance to investigate what had happened. However, his team's reports offered no satisfactory explanations. All they found was the total disappearance of the outpost and strange energy signatures they could not decipher. But instead of exercising caution, Vrak dismissed it as an isolated incident and pressed on with the campaign. By now, Erebus was ready for a larger counteroffensive. The next target was the Kadran supply fleet, an essential component for maintaining their campaign. With the coordination of dozens of stealth satellites and energy cannon stations, the network severed the enemy's supply lines entirely, forcing them to begin feeling the weight of their arrogance. In a meeting with General Tan, Dr. Voss described Erebus as an invisible phantom that not only haunted the Kadrans but also shook their confidence. She stated, "The Kadrans think war is merely about strength and numbers. But they've forgotten that, in a game of chess, the victor isn't the one with the largest pieces but the one who knows how to make the smartest moves." General Tan nodded, his eyes sharp and resolute. "They'll learn that soon enough. We'll make them understand that not all underdogs accept their fate. This time, humanity will be the lesson for the entire galaxy." Erebus, humanity's secret network, was not just a weapons system. It was the embodiment of survival instincts, of boundless creativity, and of the superior intellect of a species that refused to submit to any threat. In the dark expanse of the universe, Erebus awaited its moment to turn the tide, delivering a counterstrike the Kadrans would never forget. As the Kadran ultimatum echoed across communication channels, their smugness seemed to permeate the entire universe. Supreme Commander Vraktalan, his voice cold and authoritative, declared, "Humans, you have resisted long enough. Surrender now, or witness the annihilation of your planet." However, contrary to their expectations, no signals of surrender came from humanity. Instead, General Alex Tan, standing before the central screen in Earth's underwater command center, responded in a calm yet icy tone. "Do not underestimate a species that has conquered its own limits." Moments later, a series of catastrophic events unfolded, throwing the entire Kadran fleet into unprecedented chaos. The Erebus system, pre-programmed and ready, activated immediately after General Tan's words were transmitted. Quantum stealth satellites, lying dormant around the Ceres region, simultaneously unleashed quantum energy pulses. These pulses were not designed to destroy but to disable. Kadran warships, reliant on a centralized AI system for operation, suddenly lost connectivity. Their navigation systems became completely scrambled, leaving them adrift in space like soulless wreckage. It didn't stop there. Traps buried beneath the surfaces of nearby planets were triggered. Dual helix energy cannons, camouflaged within natural terrain, fired devastating beams that penetrated the thickest armor of Kadran warships. Each shot was calculated with pinpoint accuracy, destroying critical components and causing the ships to ignite from within. On the surface of Europa, stealth missile silos hidden beneath thick layers of ice simultaneously launched volleys of molecular magnetic missiles. These missiles didn't strike directly but emitted energy fields strong enough to collapse the molecular structure of Kadran vessels. The once proud Kadran fleet, hailed as the strongest in the universe, began disintegrating into cosmic dust. Inside the few remaining operational Kadran warships, panic spread rapidly. Kadran commanders scrambled to issue counterattack orders, but all communication channels were blocked by Erebus. Instead, a single message echoed across their network. This is humanity's response. Remember this lesson. Supreme Commander Vraktalan, consumed by rage and despair, roared. This is impossible. Humans are a mere primitive species. How could they achieve this? But his question would remain unanswered. By now, Erebus had launched the final phase of its counteroffensive. Every remaining Kadran warship was targeted and destroyed within minutes. Not a single ship escaped, not a single enemy was spared. In Earth's command center, General Tan's team stood silently, watching the displays on their massive screens. A fleet of 3,000 powerful Kadran warships had been completely annihilated in less than an hour. Dr. Arya Voss, the mastermind behind the Erebus system, sighed and remarked. This isn't a victory. It's a lesson for them and for us. War should never happen, but if they force our hand, we'll show them the consequences. General Tan nodded, his expression revealing no joy in the triumph. He knew this battle was only the beginning. Humanity had proven its intellectual strength and will to survive, but the price was the attention of the entire galaxy. He looked at the final screen, where a faint light faded in the depths of space, the last remnant of the Kadran fleet. In a steady yet resolute voice, he declared. We've shown that humanity will not bow easily. But let us not let pride cloud our judgment. This is a warning, not just for the Kadrans, but for ourselves. Prepare, because the real storm is yet to come. In the days following the battle, Erebus continued to be refined and expanded, becoming a shield not just for Earth but for humanity's entire network of colonies. Meanwhile, the shattered remains of the Kadran fleet served as a stark reminder to the galaxy of the power of a species many had underestimated. As the ashes of battle settled, the last remnants of the Kadran fleet drifted aimlessly in space, nothing more than forgotten debris. Yet, on the Kadran homeworld, an eerie stillness prevailed. There were no counterattacks, no signals from surviving forces. In the grand squares of Orakthal, the capital, crowds of Kadran citizens gathered under massive screens, hoping for news from their commanders. Instead, an unexpected message appeared, broadcast across all communication channels, from internal networks to orbital displays. The glowing characters, simple yet chilling, read. Think carefully before choosing war. Once we are involved, there will be no second chances. In the command chamber on the Kadran homeworld, the High Council sat in silence. Faces once filled with arrogance were now pale and helpless. Supreme Commander Vraktalan, once a symbol of invincibility, bowed his head in shame at the humiliating defeat. Struggling to defend himself before the council, he admitted, "We underestimated them. These humans, they are not merely insignificant beings. They are a force far more terrifying than any enemy we have ever faced." A council member, their voice trembling and eyes hollow, asked, "How did they do it?" "We possess superior technology, a powerful military. How could they defeat us in the blink of an eye?" While the Kadrans remained trapped in their horror, an undeniable truth became clear: they had not only been defeated on the battlefield but outmaneuvered by humanity's superior intellect. The Erebus system, with its unparalleled offensive and defensive capabilities, had proven that humans were not just skilled warriors but master strategists. But what terrified the Kadrans most was not humanity's destructive power, it was their astonishing mercy, something the Kadrans had never encountered before. Contrary to their own tradition of obliterating defeated enemies, humanity chose to leave a lesson. Instead of revenge, they delivered a warning, not with violence, but with a cold and confident restraint. On the Kadran homeworld, small unmanned human drones landed across key locations, carrying mysterious devices that were strategically placed in critical areas. One massive device was erected in the central square of Orakthal, emitting a soft blue glow. This was not a bomb but an advanced holographic projection system. When activated, it displayed the entirety of the recent battle, every detail, every tactic, every Kadran failure at the hands of humanity. When the footage ended, a voice echoed, clear and cold. "We did not come here to destroy you, but to remind you that war is not the only path. If you choose war, however, be prepared to face the consequences. This is your only warning. There will be no second chance." The Kadrans, once proud of their history of conquering hundreds of planets, now stood at a crossroads. This defeat not only shattered the High Council's credibility but also forced Kadran society to confront questions they had never dared ask. They began to wonder if violence was truly the only way to maintain power or if they had been on the wrong path for centuries. At the Kadran Empire's top military academies, young officers analyzed every aspect of humanity's strategies. They realized that humanity's victory stemmed not only from technology but also from adaptability, creativity, and a spirit of unity. While the Kadrans had focused solely on brute strength, humanity had used intelligence to turn weaknesses into strengths, defenses into offenses, and ultimately reverse the tide of war in spectacular fashion. In the years following their defeat, the Kadrans began to change. For the first time in their history, they signed peace treaties with neighboring planets. Under growing pressure from the populace, the High Council enacted sweeping reforms, shifting their focus from conquest to societal development. On Earth, General Alex Tan, who had led the historic victory, stood at the Geneva Memorial, where the words were engraved. "Victory is not merely the destruction of an enemy but the sowing of seeds for peace." Addressing all of humanity, he said, "This war serves as a reminder of our responsibility. We do not just protect our planet, we uphold the values we cherish. If our strength instills fear in our enemies, let our mercy be the lesson they never forget." The blue skies of Earth reflected off vast oceans, painting a serene and vibrant scene. In stark contrast to the harrowing memories of the recent battle, this small planet continued its journey not only as the home of humanity but as a symbol of intellect and resilience. At the Interstellar Space Station, ISSX, General Alex Tan stood before a wall of monitors displaying streams of data. Surveillance satellites showed that planets within Kadran territory had completely withdrawn their military forces, focusing on restoration and self-evaluation. A report from the Interstellar Peace Council arrived. The Kadran Empire accepts an indefinite ceasefire agreement and pledges not to initiate war for at least the next 3 generations. Alex did not smile, even though it was a monumental victory. He simply nodded and said, "We may have stopped the war, but the real lesson has only just begun." In Geneva, where the Interstellar Council headquarters were located, a press conference was held to announce the results of the campaign. Representatives from allied planets gathered, their faces radiant yet bearing a solemn intensity. A journalist asked, "General Tan, do you believe this victory will sustain peace indefinitely?" Alex replied, his voice calm but firm. "Peace is not a destination, it's a journey. This victory is not to glorify our strength but to remind us that we must always be prepared to defend our values. No one should rest on their laurels." Elsewhere on Earth, humanity's leading scientists continued their work on the Erebus project. Quantum strategies had secured the victory, but they were merely one piece of a larger puzzle. A secret symposium was convened at Luna Prime, a base on the Moon, bringing together scientists, strategists, and philosophers. Dr. Maria Ling, head of the Erebus development team, addressed the group. The war with the Kadrans was not just a triumph of technology, it was a triumph of creativity and determination. But we must ask ourselves, what happens if the next opponent is smarter, faster, and more ruthless? Technology alone may not be the ultimate answer. A young philosopher, Alan Yu, responded. Our focus should not solely be on defeating enemies but on preventing war from happening in the first place. We must build a civilization founded not just on strength but on empathy and understanding. Meanwhile, images of the battle were broadcast across the galaxy. Alien civilizations that had kept their distance from humanity began sending signals of peace. The Kadrans, once notorious for their ferocity, also began to change. No longer boasting about their conquests, they turned inward, seeking a new meaning for their existence. At a Kadran council meeting, an elderly general remarked, "We once believed strength was everything. But humanity has shown us that sometimes, wisdom is mightier than weapons." Back on Earth, life gradually returned to normal. Yet within every individual, the sense of responsibility to protect their planet and nurture peace was deeper than ever before. Schools taught the meaning of this victory, not merely as a military achievement but as a lesson in resilience and surpassing limitations. During a memorial ceremony at the International Peace Park, General Alex Tan stood on a podium with a colossal monument behind him, inscribed with the words, "We do not fight just to win. We fight to build the future." Looking out at the audience of thousands, Alex spoke. "This victory does not belong to me or my team, it belongs to all of humanity. It is a testament to our ability to overcome challenges and unite for a greater purpose. But remember, this will not be the last time we must rise to the occasion. Our journey is far from over, and the universe still holds countless challenges." Far away in the cosmos, a human probe glided past distant star systems, carrying a message of peace. Engraved on its hull was a famous quote from an ancient philosopher. "When humanity reaches for the stars, it carries hope, not fear." The probe drifted silently, starlight reflecting off its surface. It bore the story of a small yet resilient planet, where beings once deemed fragile proved they could transform an entire galaxy with their intellect, courage, and yearning for peace. The story ends, not as a conclusion, but as the opening chapter of a greater journey. Humanity had won, but they refused to rest on their victory. They looked ahead, into the vast expanse of the universe, with faith that the future belonged to those willing to learn, innovate, and unite to face every challenge together.